Hey, what's up everybody? It's Chris with Digital Dream. And in this video, we're going to go over the brand spirit and why it's important for you to have brand spirit included in your brand guideline. So with that being said, we're just going to hop right into it. Let's go. Okay, so your brand spirit is your brand's core essence at the end of the day. The brand spirit represents the soul of the brand, encompassing all of the fundamentals and the core of your brand. So again, just think of your own spirit, like the spirit of you as an individual. Now, after you think of all of the values and the missions and all of the different things that make up your actual spirit, your uniqueness, then you want to define that for your actual brand. So you might be a solopreneur, but you have your own spirit that you are infusing into your brand. So you want to find that spirit and define that in your brand. And sometimes you might even shift your actual brand spirit to be a little different from your personal spirit. So very, very important when establishing your brand spirit, right? So you want to think of these things. So also, with that being said, you want to elicit emotions in your actual brand with your actual brand spirit. And how do you elicit emotions, you might be asking? Eliciting emotions is being able to resonate with other people who have that same exact spirit that you have. So eliciting emotions by reinforcing or highlighting the values that your brand stands for, or highlighting the things that your brand stands for, helps people resonate with your brand on a spiritual level. So very, very important. Like, it aims to evoke specific emotions and the values in this audience and the values his audience is creating. That's at the end of the day what it really, the tool or the mission of establishing your brand spirit or defining your brand spirit is just to evoke that emotions, help them to resonate with what you actually offer. Very, very important to make that authentic and emotional connection with your actual brand. I know to you it might just seem like, currently it might just seem like a logo or something like that, but it's actually an experience. It's actually a core. It's actually a whole spirit inside of your brand, and you want to start to envision your brand just like that. The logo, the colors, and all the things that people see are the face of your brand. Just like people can see your face, but just like people who walk around and can see your face, do not have the full experience of who you are as far as your spirit. So again, when people do interact with you or your brand, they're able to tell what your spirit is and able to tell what your brand spirit is. The other part of this is it helps guide decision making. So you will be better informed on what is the best decision if it aligns with your brand spirit, right? It pretty much serves as a guiding light for your actual brand. So if it aligns with your brand spirit, we're doing that. If it doesn't align with our brand spirit, it really doesn't resonate with where our brand spirit is going. So we won't be taking on that project, or you won't be taking on that project. But again, your brand helps you define that because you define what your actual brand spirit is. So that comes from it. That comes from if it's even product development, marketing, marketing campaigns, but more than anything, ensuring that consistency across the board when it comes to interacting, engaging, and what people get from your brand, what services they get from your brand. Very, very important to understand your brand spirit and how you can use it to better to create a better experience across the board and consistent experience across the board when it comes to your brand. Now I'm gonna give you a quick example of a brand spirit and why it's important, right? So just think of, here's a good analogy. Just think of like dogs. Like, dogs have different spirits. Certain breeds have different spirits, and you can more than likely think of your own dog or your own spirit. So again, a husky has its own type of spirit, its own type of if you want to say values in comparison to a chihuahua. So again, it has its own type of spirit, and you kind of want to be able to define that for your brand. So again, now with that being said, just like me, more than likely the actual the actual owner is also a reflection of the dog is a reflection of the owner, because the owner more than likely chose that dog because they share some similar spirit connection there. So again, it's really just tying it really that simply. Like, there are certain things that have spirits in it, and that's just, if we think of spirit, some people get caught up in like, oh, when it's a living thing, it can be an actual non-living thing as well. Like, cars have spirits. Like, hey, have you ever experienced where you're like, man, I never envisioned that person driving that type of car. It just throws you off, because you're like, hey, you feel their spirit, and then they get out of a different type of a spirit of a car, and you're like, man, something doesn't match, and it just, it throws you off. But at the same time, those little core things that we learn as babies, even we learn these things as babies, because this is, I want to say, more of spiritual talk, but we learn this as babies. And one of those things, like, okay, you understand the core of how even everybody communicates, you need to actually define that also in your actual business's brand. So again, that's why it's super, super important for you to establish your brand spirit and define that into your brand guideline, because as you grow from being a solopreneur to a team of 10 to a team of 150, that you will be able to communicate, like, this is our brand spirit. These are the types of projects we take on. These are the types of values our organization has. This is the type of this is how we communicate to our audience. This is how we have customer service even. So again, establishing your brand spirit, very, very important. So that being said, hopefully you found something super valuable in this live here. I know it's very informational, more informational than that hands-on, but with that being said, very, very important. It's not any less important than actually hopping on the computer and doing any of the graphics. So again, this is super, super important to establish your brand spirit, because at the end of the day, it kind of drives what you're going to do on the computer. It drives what you're going to shoot on your video. So all of this works hand in hand, and this is one of those things that people often overlook when they're actually starting their brand. So that being said, hopefully this inspires you. Do that one thing that takes you closer to your goals. Like I always say, do that one thing. That being said, all y'all have a blessed day. Lady y'all. Peace.